Hello, everyone. It's Art Russell here at Think Twice on YouTube and thinktwice.me at wordpress.com. In today's video, I'm going to share some more information about our essential nature and also clarify my intention for having my channel. I think it can often be the case that when we hear the term spirituality, we may assume that someone's trying to persuade us to be a spiritual person, or convince us to adopt a certain belief system. Nothing could be further from the truth, at least in my case. I'm not attempting to convince you to be anything other than what you are. I'm hoping that the pointers that I offer will help point you to a deeper recognition of self, true self, beyond name and form. Now, I know that may seem kind of ludicrous, where some people would go, Art, I know who I am. I'm John Doe or Jane Smith, and I live at such and such a place, and I'm male or female, and all those definitions. What I'm offering here is information. It's called the practice of self-inquiry, where we look deeply into what we actually are, beyond our assumptions. We've been conditioned to believe this from day one here, that we're the person. And it is the person, the perspective of the person, that suffers. So I'm hoping to alleviate some potential suffering for you through your deeper understanding. So you might ask, well, how do we practice that self-inquiry? Now, one of the ways, it goes back a long way, is to ask, who am I? And I add, really, beyond all the definitions that you can add to your name, beyond, and the form, the height, the weight, the gender, the nationality, beyond all those. So let's start with a basic method. We feel like an I, don't we? We feel subjective. Well, what I'm asking then is, why do we settle for claiming to be an object? We feel like a subject. I. We believe I perform actions. This is an object. The body is an object. So let's back up from that. We go, well, it's an object. It appears to us. So let's go even deeper. Then a lot of people would say, well, then I'm my thoughts, my beliefs, my feelings, emotions. But you see, thoughts, when we still ourselves, when we become still with perhaps a few minutes of meditation a day, we'll realize more and more fully, those thoughts appear to me. They come and go, and I feel none the less when they come or go. That I don't have to take the ride of those thoughts or the ride that's associated with certain feelings. When I stand, in a way, figuratively back from myself and recognize it as basically my avatar or my character. Now you might go, Art, that's delusional. You're saying that me here I am as a solid flesh and bones, and look, this is who I am. I was born either rich or poor, healthy or unhealthy, in a good part of town or a favorable part of, or an unfavorable part of town. My parents were either good or bad, and settling for all those definitions. So to move deeper into recognition of what we truly are requires a paradigm shift of reality from the belief that this is a matter-based world to one where we recognize it as basically a realm of thoughts. Now, I know that sounds odd, but bear with me here. So the first quotation that I'm going to do to support this is from a book called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and I know a lot of people may have thought what bunk that was. The Secret, the law of attraction means nothing. I suggest otherwise. Here's the first passage, and it's from Dr. John Hagelin. He's a quantum physicist, and he's the leader of the Transcendental Meditation movement in the US. So he does have some credentials. Quantum mechanics confirms it. Quantum cosmology confirms it. That the universe essentially emerges from thought. And all of this matter around us is just precipitated thought. Ultimately, we are the source of the universe. And when we understand that power directly by experience, we can start to exercise our authority and begin to achieve more and more, create anything, know anything from within the field of our own consciousness, which ultimately is universal consciousness that runs the universe. Now, this is a key point in our understanding, that our consciousness, in fact, even though it feels personal, it feels like it arises out of here, out of the head, out of the brain, from neuronal processes, is not actually the case. Now, science actually backs this up, and it's called the hard problem of consciousness. They don't know how it arises. They assume it arises from the brain, but they have not proven this, and I'm stating they never will. So some more pointers towards truth. So let's go to another book called that I came into when I was going through some rougher times a few years ago, and I was interested in books on the law of attraction and also books in spirituality, about spirituality. And the information from those finally came together and helped me to arrive at a deeper understanding of who I am. And I'm hoping this will help you. So one of the books was called The Kabbalion. And I remember when I first read it and I thought, oh, wow, this is pretty out there. But it has 7 hermetic principles in this book. And the first principle is the principle of mentalism. And it states, the all is mind. The universe is mental. Now, when I first read that, I thought, wow, somebody's mental. Because I knew, without a doubt, that the world was solid. Well, what we're saying here is that energy is matter and matter is energy. Einstein basically said that with his famous equation. So when you think of mind, to have any experience, we need consciousness. That's what they're really saying in that book. Consciousness. Ask yourself, can you have an experience, say perhaps watching this video, without consciousness? No, consciousness is the foundation. Consciousness is actually what you are. You are awareness, a point of awareness. Let's go to another book that may help us. This one is The World as Will and Representation by Arthur Schopenhauer. He's a famous German philosopher whose work came out in the early 1800s. Yeah, this book has been around for many, many years. And what I'm going to go to here is a first line, page 3 of his book. The world is my representation. Representation, not a solid thing, a representation. Like you might think of a dream world at night, instead of assuming that you get up into, autonomously as the person, get up into a real solid world made of matter. And so that means that you can't change things. This is, which ties into some of the information with the law of attraction, that if you change your beliefs, if you get to know yourself more deeply, you'll know that if you affirm changes to yourself and believe them, that your reality made by the mind can and will change. Here's another quote, and it's one of the last ones I'll leave you with in this presentation. It's from a chapter verse in the Bible, Hebrews 11:3, and I included that in some of my writing to help point people to deeper understanding. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the Word of God, by consciousness, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. This is basically another way of saying that things are not independent of us. If you look up the observer effect, you'll see that an observer is required to collapse the wave function of light into apparent things. Double slit experiment shows that light is both a wave, functions as a wave, and a particle. Those particles make up all apparent things. Now, lastly, I'll offer, if you've liked this video, please feel free to subscribe or click a like button, because it does help get it out there to more people who may be interested in this. And I also offer my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, which is available through Amazon. I hope this has been of some service to you today. Bye for now. We'll talk again soon.